It's the Married with Channels podcast. My name is Moose.
I'm Jody.
Married couple talking TV shows and movies. And we'll get to a new TV show and a return of an older one in just a minute. But switching things up, we're going to start with what the kids are watching. And Mom and Dad have introduced our oldest to the world of Batman, starting with, she's already seen the TV show with Adam West.
Yes.
But we're bringing her to the world of the Michael Keaton / mid-90s, late 90s Batman.
Yeah, let me just say, she's a big fan of like Lego Batman and kind of that franchise. You know, she's familiar with the Batman world.
So she's watching these. We're watching them with her.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched Batman with Michael Keaton.
Yep.
We watched Batman Returns, Michael Keaton, both Tim Burton movies.
Yep.
And nobody like made a whisper as far as like, you know, execution. And there's a couple comments here and there. But
sure.
For overall, everybody agrees those are good movies.
Yes.
Good, decent movies.
I mean, yeah.
Then you get into Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Which there's no Michael Keaton, obviously. There's no Tim Burton.
Val Kilmer, George Clooney.
Yeah.
You know.
Chris O'Donnell's in there, Alicia Silverstone.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Jim Carrey.
Yep.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Uma Thurman. We got a lot of big names involved with these.
Yeah.
But boy, quite a stark difference from Batman Returns to Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
They're so bad. I'm just going to say that. They're just so bad.
Yeah, we're focusing mostly on the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Those are Joel Schumacher movies. A stark contrast.
Yeah.
Like, you take out the execution, it's visually a stark contrast.
Well,
the first
sure.
two, the Tim Burton ones were darker.
Yep.
A little more methodical. These are like comic books on the big screen.
They're very bright. They're very...
Yeah, they're just like wild hues everywhere,
yep.
Color splashes. And I get that, okay. But the execution of these movies is not good. And it's like, with Batman Forever, it starts to get bad. It's tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not great.
Yeah.
But then you get to Batman and Robin, you're like, okay, what the fuck? You know, it's just so
Are you
bad.
even trying to make a movie here?
You know, Batman and Robin strikes me as a movie that, and I said this while we were watching it, it's a B movie that has a huge budget.
Absolutely.
They probably had $100 million budget at the time, which was 97 or so.
But you can't tell it when you watch it.
you can, but it's a great example of a bad movie with a huge budget, but they didn't put money into like a good script. The acting's piss poor. The character motivations are garbage.
I disagree, though. Like, I mean, those things are true, but I think there's some crappy set pieces that just, like, you could, like, I can tell this motorbike scene or this bike racing scene looks like it was shot in a warehouse in a lot, you know?
Yeah, but
like, I can tell.
Yeah, but there's a lot of money in there to stage that.
True, but it's still poorly done. You can't tell because it looks crap, you know? And, like, props, like, even Poison Ivy was holding, what was it in the glass little jar? I don't know.
Oh, the little plant.
Yes.
Oh, that looks so bad.
I know. And I'm like, you didn't put any money into that either.
If you're Uma Thurman, because Bane comes over with the glass thing with the plant. It's like a small version of Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors almost.
Uh-huh. It's
and
a Venus flytrap, probably.
It's got like this really flappy mouth. Like you could tell the guy, the production assistant's under framed, like moving the stick to move it like a Muppet.
Like a puppet, yeah.
And it just looks so horrible.
Yeah.
And there's just so much bad about this movie. Like the puns. Oh my God. I remember watching Batman and Robin originally and coming away with like the Mr. Freeze puns.
Oh.
I remember those. I don't remember how frequent they were throughout the movie. Like here's a scene where Chris O'Donnell's character, they're doing the motorcycle race you mentioned.
Yeah.
And Alicia Silverstone's character, they slide and they're hanging from a ledge and they could die. And here he is. He says this to her.
Oh. So this is where you hang out.
Get it? Because they're hanging. I mean, it's just a ton of that.
Yes.
A lot of the scenes go on way too long.
Yes.
Whoever edited this movie should be fired. There's a scene where, and I didn't notice until we watched it literally last night, where Robin gets thrown into the water in Poison Ivy's lair.
Yes.
And he's struggling with the vines or whatever. He pops his head out and then pops his head back in. That was a definite reverse.
Yeah.
They just reversed the camera roll to make it look like he's going back underwater. I'm like, you're $100-some million movie.
Just shoot it. Yeah. Just shoot it.
You couldn't afford that reshot?
Yeah. Also, yeah. I feel like it's lazy cinematography too. Like every scene is like this diagonal shot and it's like left, right.
Yeah.
Left, right. Left, right. And like, oh my gosh, like the more I noticed it, the more it drove me crazy through the whole movie. It's so prevalent.
I believe those are called Dutch angles.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the technical
when
term.
they use those sparingly, they add some, they can help.
Interests, yeah.
They can add to what's going on in the scene. But yeah, every fucking shot is a Dutch angle here.
Yes.
And every shot is just bathed in hot hues of pink and green.
Neons and...
They started to, it's like they fidgeted with that in Batman Forever with Val Kilmer. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, later on, they're like, this is great.
Turn the color up.
More. I want more color.
Yeah.
It needs to look more like a comic book. I don't know what happened with this movie, Batman and Robin, but like even like George Clooney's a respectable actor. He's done some good work.
Yeah.
But he is just horrible in this.
Yes.
I mean, this is not his fault. This is just a bad writing here.
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
Yeah.
Okay. What gave it away? The pointy ears or the logo on your chest of Batman? You know,
your notoriety in Gotham already. I don't know.
Why do you have to explain that? So to me, Batman and Robin is
cool.
I know. Like, this movie's entertaining for the wrong reasons.
Sure.
Just they have the ice skates in their boots.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
Like,
they click their heels and the ice skate blades come out of their feet. Like you just already had that built into your suits for whenever you might have to ice skate.
In a city that is essentially New York City. It's a seasonal city.
Yeah.
So you only have about 3 months of winter where that would really be, relevant.
Yeah.
You didn't know about Mr. Freeze wasn't a character who was around for a long time where this was something, well, we're going to fight Freeze at some time. We better have some ice skates built into our
Wasn't this their first encounter?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was their first, because I think in the beginning they're like, we got this new bad guy.
Yeah.
And they're talking about Mr. Freeze.
Yep.
And speaking of Mr. Freeze, I'm a little offended by the characterization of Mr. Freeze as this muahahaha
bad guy villain,
finger steeple, white cat petting villain when his motivations are out of love. Like if you know the Mr. Freeze character, and I'm not a big comic book nerd, but I did read some Batman comic books.
Look at you.
I love the 90s animated show. That was a great character. That was a great representation of Mr. Freeze. He was tortured. He was sanguine. He was all about trying to find a cure for his beloved wife, who was suspended animation.
I mean, that's here in this movie, too.
It is, but that's not his motivation here. I mean, it is.
It is.
It is, but he does too much of the mwahahaha type of shit. Mr. Freeze isn't like that.
Okay.
That's not Mr. Freeze. And it's just kind of annoying.
All right. Thanks, Batman nerd.
I get the feeling, I get the feeling Batman and Robin was made for kids. Logic be damned.
Like, how can we market this? Yeah.
Like, kids would laugh at, he said, this is where you hang out. They're hanging, Mommy. It's silly. Can we go back to Batman and Forever real quick?
Yeah.
My biggest problem with that was, and I'm not the only one.
Maybe it's the same as mine. Let's see.
Here, I'll play a little clip.
Hey, Two-Face, show me how to punch a guy.
It's dirt simple, my boy. Ball up the fist, reach way back, and assert yourself.
So that's Harvey Dent, Two-Face, and the Riddler.
Tommy Lee Jones, Jim Carrey.
My problem with Batman Forever is the villains is Two-Face. Like, I don't know why Tommy Lee Jones was going over the top. Mm-hmm. That's Jim Carrey's thing. Let him do that with Riddler. You counter that with the suave, smooth, calculating criminal, Yeah. That's what Two-Face should be, at least when you have Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Yeah.
I don't understand that choice that he made.
Sure.
I think it was wrong. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people like, yeah, too over the top with Two-Face.
Yeah.
What was your issue with Batman
That's the
Forever?
Same as mine. Yeah.
And another one? Huh?
That he was just like really kind of over the top with that performance as that character. It just didn't work well with Jim Carrey.
My other
it's like
issue,
they're competing with each other.
Yeah. It's like, who can outdo each other as far as craziness?
Mm-hmm.
My other issue with Batman Forever is Chase.
Yes, Chase Meridian.
Dr. Chase Meridian.
Yes.
Played by Nicole Kidman.
Yes.
She was like a brain in name only. Like, she was like, I'm a doctor. Batman, I want to fuck you. Like her whole motivation is just, oh, I want to hump Batman so bad. It's like, aren't you supposed to be like the smart doctor? This seems belittling a little bit.
It's a little bit out there. And yeah, I don't know. Doesn't she study like psychosis and like,
I don't know.
she studies criminal minds. So, you know, maybe he's just a fascinating project for her.
Yeah, but I got more of it like, I want to hump Batman.
Yeah.
There was no like, at least the script didn't tell me like Dr. Chase Meridian's fascinated by Batman and what drives someone to do that. I need to dig in deeper. It's more like, I must have him.
Yeah.
I want to kiss his face. You know, that's all wrong for that character.
Yep.
And I remember liking Batman Forever, but it's crap. But Batman and Robin it's a big pile of dog shit. Just a huge pile.
Way worse. Yes.
I'd be curious to see what Evie, how she reacts to when we get to the Christopher Nolan movies.
Oh, I think she's going to think those are cool.
You think?
Yeah.
They're a little more adult, a little more thinky. They're still comic book movies, but
that Tumblr is so cool.
the Tumblr's badass, right?
Yes.
And that's the other thing, like the Batmobile in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Terrible.
There's nothing cool about it.
No.
It just looks like a bunch of
It had some black lights on it.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, get those out of there.
Yeah.
And we don't need all the swoopy angles and stuff. Like the Michael Keaton Batmobile, I remember thinking that was so cool.
It was cool.
Like it kind of like looked like a bat, but looked like a Corvette, but looked like a jet.
It was sweet.
I don't know. Boy, I feel like we could spend easily an hour on these Batman movies, but
I know.
We should probably move on unless you got something else.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
I mean, you can watch them with your kids, but just know some of them are terrible.
Just remember, if you watch them with your kids, they're dog shit, okay? All right. Let's move on to a new show, Mrs. Davis.
Yeah.
And I can't remember that actress's name. She was in Glow about the professional women's wrestling team.
Betty Gilpin.
Betty Gilpin, okay. She's good. This show is about a woman who, you know, she eventually becomes a nun, and there's this major AI that kind of everybody in the world uses called Mrs. Davis. That's the AI.
Yes.
And she kind of stumbles into, she's very much against it. She
Yep.
doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yep.
And she kind of reconnects with an old flame friend of hers who is in this very active rebel group trying to destroy Mrs. Davis.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting show, and it's on Peacock. I know what you're going to say.
What?
You don't like it.
It's okay. It's just, it's a little bit out there. The concept is a little bit like, what? You know, like with the whole, like she teleports to Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that
wait,
works.
What? I thought this was about like beating Mrs. Davis, like the AI and the problem and how, you know, everybody's kind of turned into these, you know, tech vegetables that can't think for themselves. You know, I thought that was like, you know, and they're taking a stand against that. And then like there's this whole other aspect to her and Wiley, the old flame character that she kind of runs in the rebel group with. But I don't know, like I'm like, that's a little bit out there. I'm like, wait, what? What is happening here?
It's a little out there, but I think it's kind of like it kind of reminds me of one of those, what are those Christmas things where every day you open a new window?
An advent calendar.
It's like an advent calendar of a TV show. It's like every episode there's a new different thing.
Yeah.
And you're kind of left to be like, it's either kind of an interesting thing or it's like what that explains whatever. Like, you know, when they first started, she was visiting this guy in a diner.
Yeah.
And he was giving her what looked to be assignments.
Yes.
And they're like thwarting magic or something.
Yes.
And you're kind of like, well, what's this relationship? Why are they doing that? And then after episode 3 or 4, we find out he's like Jesus.
Yeah.
And even before we find out it's Jesus, she wants to marry him.
Yeah.
And by that, what she means is she wants to be in the convent.
Yeah.
Become a nun and give her life to Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And it's fresh and it's got new things. Like one example is when Wiley, they go to Ireland or Scotland. And they go to like this almost Renaissance fair thing.
Yes.
And he gets a helmet.
Yes.
And a number.
Yes.
And they all line up and they're all wearing, him and these dudes are wearing helmets and somebody's about to yell go.
Yeah.
And they start running And he, along with us as the audience, are like, what the hell's going on?
Yes, what's going to happen to them? Are they running into lions or like another troop with weapons here? Like,
right. Is this going to be a Braveheart battle? Or...
Yes.
And that moment, I was like, looking back, I'm like, that was so cool and fresh because I didn't know what was going to happen, and it's different. I've never seen something like that.
I think maybe that's my frustration with this show is because whenever I watch shows that have elements like that, I'm always trying to figure out what's going on. And if I can't figure it out in my brain, I'm like, oh, this is frustrating.
I know, but you need to like wait because it seems like I think things are paying off on the show.
Yeah,
they just don't happen right away or even at the end of the episode.
Well, and the more things get answered, the more questions I have. It's one of those kind of shows for me. Like, okay, well, that explains that, but we got this new element of teleportation. Okay.
Yeah, but is it teleportation or is it she just kind of like in her mind going there? I don't think she's actually physically going to this diner where Jesus is at.
I have no idea.
I just have a feeling in her mind she kind of, whether it's meditation or she just kind of zones out, she's visiting with Jesus.
I have no idea.
I don't either, and maybe that'll pay off as to how that's actually happening.
Sure.
But then you have elements like Simone is her character's name.
Yes.
You know, like she's on her way to Scotland or Ireland for the thing, and on the train, her mom is there. Then there's a whole backstory with her mom doing these experiments or whatever, and you know there's this room she wasn't allowed to go into as a kid, and Simone as a kid opens the door and gets shot with a crossbow that's like a booby trap.
Yeah.
And you got David Arquette showing up as the father, and I don't know. I find it fascinating and fresh and different.
Sure.
And I like the whole story of like we're fighting AI because I think we're all in a very much an AI mode these days. And
not just AI, but just like technology. We just rely on that so much that, you know, we are forgetting basic skills that don't involve a piece of technology.
Yeah, I think the easy comparison summation of the show could be technology versus religion and all that. But I think there's more there. And I like Mrs. Davis. I think it's a interesting show.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Yeah. And it's very well done. It's well written. The acting's great.
Absolutely. I don't hate it. I just, my brain, I need to figure the puzzle out. Okay.
Yeah. Jody hates shows. She's got to
wait.
Yeah. I need to figure this out now, you sons of bitches. I was going to play a clip, but we'll just move on.
Okay.
And back to one of our favorites, The Righteous Gemstones. We finished season 3 where, I forget the gemstone leaders, John Goodman's characters. His sister comes into the mix, and her ex-husband and their 2 sons are leading this kind of like militia that is looking to kind of take out their church and expose them for like the money-grubbing televangelist non-believers, non-true believers that he thinks they are, played by Steve Zahn.
So it's Eli, John Goodman, and May.
Right.
Yep, and her sons.
And you have, who plays Judy? Edie something. She's just phenomenal.
Yeah, she's funny.
Here's a scene of her busting into the pharmacy. This is the episode after BJ comes back after getting his ass beat, and then he beat up the one guy who was having non-sexual, consensual extramarital affair with Judy. He's all bruised up and, cut and all that. She busts into a pharmacy.
Attention pharmacy! I need some salves and shit for intense body beatings. For what? Look, my husband got the living shit beat out of him and it's all my fault. Help me take his pain away. Pronto! Oh! Fine.
Help me take his pain away pronto. She is so good.
Yeah, Edie Patterson.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, Righteous Gemstones season 3. I thought it was really great.
Yeah.
I thought it was better than season 2 even.
Sure. Yep.
But the show continues to deliver some interesting characters, and it's kind of one of those shows that, and I want to hear what you think on it. It's kind of like the silliness quotient's kind of cranked up.
Yes.
But there's actually some good human moments.
I was just going to say the same thing, that it's a high comedy show. Like, there's a lot of that and a lot of characters that are just kind of
far out there.
Ridiculous. Yeah. But there is a little bit of heart there. Like, you know, when they know how much of that to sprinkle in there, you know, it's not too much. It's where you're like, is this a comedy or a drama? But it's a comedy. But yeah, there are a little bit tender moments in there where you're like, oh, we can learn something from this funny show, you know?
Yeah. Like the scene where they, the three of the two brothers and sister are up on stage talking to the board members of the church. And it ends up being like everybody's throwing shoes at everybody.
Yeah. I was thinking more of like when they're at the end, this is a spoiler alert if you haven't seen the end of the season, but they're driving around the monster truck as a family, all having a great time smashing stuff. And it's funny, the things that they choose to smash. That was hilarious and great. And then at the end, you know, you kind of see the ghost of their deceased mom just kind of smiling over that moment, looking down on her family, having fun together, you know?
That scene encapsulates kind of what the show is. Yeah. The concept of everybody in the family's taking a turn driving this monster truck, destroying shit, is a high concept. Concept. You know, it's a high.
That sounds like a good time. I don't know. That sounds like a pretty good time.
It is, but like that's silly. But it definitely, the underwriting thread there with all that is, you know, the emotion and the connection. Like these people love each other. Yeah. When it's all said and done, and then they're having fun together. And like you said, the mom is there, the ghost of the mom, kind of smiling. And, yeah, so the show does a great balance of being absurd at times, but at the same time having a lot of heart. Yeah. And that's probably not a easy line to toe, you know. Yep. But Righteous Gemstones is it's great. Yeah. And hopefully we get another season. Yeah. Anything else, my love? My love. Nope. I think next time we'll talk about the new season of What We Do in the Shadows. Excellent. Maybe some other stuff. Let's end it there. All right. That's going to do it for us. Share, tell your friends. Yes. Share, tell your friends. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Mary W. Chans, 2 N's. And subscribe to the show. That helps us out. You know, give us some downloads. That'll help Daddy and Mommy move forward on some more podcast episodes. That's right. Until next time, this is the Married with Channels podcast. I'm Moose. And I'm Jody. We'll see you later. Bye.